Candace Owens torches the mainstream media and TPUSA insiders in this explosive episode as Candace Owens goes absolutely nuclear over the latest drama surrounding Charlie Kirk's widow. Now, Candace Owens doesn't hold back calling out, Bari Weiss, Glenn Beck by name, while Candace Owens just simply promises that she's just getting started and she will never be silenced. Okay, so from the viral stop moment that lit up X to Candace Owens exposing what she claims are blatant lies and cover-ups. So this is peak Candace energy right now, unfiltered, pissed, and even ready to burn it all down. So here's Candace Owens as she torches the media, and she is upset about it. Let's go ahead and get right into it.
You're mentally unwell. What we are looking at right now is a badly run PR campaign. I am saying that it is badly run because it's recognizable. A good PR campaign is not recognizable. A bad PR campaign is an obvious one. And I am going to request respectfully, I know it's not going to be honored, I'm going to respectfully request that all of these Agent Smiths in this obvious matrix just stop, okay? This PR campaign, it's been nonstop since Charlie was shot. It was honestly dead on arrival, okay? We do not trust this. We do not believe this. And yet we are wildly kind of in this position where they're testing to see how many times they can say the same thing before they convince everybody else at home that it's true, okay? Their equation that they seem to be running, if it's that formula, is talking points multiplied by 10,000 talking heads must equal results. Okay? They believe that with enough of an echo, they can override basic human instinct, basic intellect, really. There is, I would like to be very clear, nothing that feels right to me about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and especially the way that some of his employees and friends have been behaving since that assassination. And I'll preface this with, I am very sorry if that offends you, Erica. Genuinely, I am sorry that there is no amount of increase in pressure and propaganda and headlines written about me that are going to convince me. And by the way, I'm just the conduit, right? You're attacking me, but you're angry that also accepted this. There's not a number that is going to convince the mass that his human neck, stopped a 30-06 bullet.
Okay. So this is also starting to remind me of a lot of personalities out there in the conservative realm on social media are stating that, well, the assassins, parents turn them in, so that should be good enough. Okay, if you have a problem with that, you should go ahead and talk to them about it. Okay, how come no one's talking about them about that? Well, here's the point blank thing about that. First and foremost, it was revealed that the assassins' parents didn't necessarily turn them in. They just had a family friend come over, like a religious leader, I'm trying to remember, trying to convince the parents to go ahead and help them to turn them in. Okay, so it had to be convinced. And then there was also a matter where, like, later on, the parents were given a gag order. They were put under a gag order to not be talked to about this. Okay, so this whole thing that a lot of people are saying out there, including like the personalities out there in this conservative, niche and stuff. I mean, let's be real. If this is going, we can't talk to the parents anyway, and it's not, anyone else out there accusing TPUSA of, being responsible for Charlie Kirk being gone and stuff. Now, I'm not accusing them of that. But at the same time, I do have questions for the government that needs to be answered. It's that simple, okay? And for people to say that you don't need to trust the FBI and what the government is stating and stuff, these are the same people who also stated that there were no Epstein files. And all of a sudden, recently, it's been made that, aware that we were told that there exists actually, okay? So it's understandable why a lot of people I actually want answers to the questions that they have, and they don't really believe that this is it. I mean, they believe that there's either something else happening or there's more to the story. And I'm one of them.
And not even just stop the bullet. I also want to be clear here. It's not just that they're saying that it ricocheted and it stopped, and this would maybe be the first time in human history. And please, if you do know a story, you've got an old article, I don't care where it's from, if you saved a newspaper article from the early 1900s in your family of an example, I don't think that bullet existed then, but like of a 30-06 being stopped by a human neck, please present it. I'd like to show that it is possible, right? It is actually, this happened one time down in Texas. It's possible. But not only are they saying that they stopped it, but I want to remind you that there was minimal damage to the front of Charlie's neck as well, okay? There was minimal damage to the front of Charlie's neck as well. So it didn't even cause a lot of, damage as it went in. It just cleanly went in and then ricocheted downward into his stomach. I'm frustrated, obviously, for a lot of reasons, but Erica's that's now being teased, the interview with Bari Weiss, it's being termed a town hall. And Bari is obviously just a Tel Aviv agent. Her entire background story, her rise, her studying in Tel Aviv, her family ties, the hand of Midas pulling her through the ranks a la Jeffrey Epstein. Despite her sub-average intelligence, she's not interesting. She somehow becomes a chief over at CBS News. Right? This actually, what I'm saying about Bari Weiss, this gets into Tucker's quote-unquote problematic speech at SAS when he jumped on stage and basically asked that question. How are all of these subpar people becoming billionaires? The rest of us have to work forever. They're not interesting. They're not talented. And they just seemingly are just getting all of this money and opportunities offered to them. This is clearly not a meritocracy that we're living under. It feels more like, and I'm saying this, more like a cartel. Okay, Bari Weiss is actually one of the people that we should study when it comes to being unimpressive and just getting handouts anyways. It's like welfare. I feel like she's on welfare. Like we all have to work and she gets promoted. And she's going to be unimpressive in this clip because that's her default. She can't even convincingly ask the prepared loaded question that she is going to deliver to Erica. And this question, like I said, has likely, by the way, been reviewed and marked up by lawyers, but she still is not even convincing, despite having it ahead of time in this delivery. Take a listen.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
So this is just, to me, I'm going to also let you know, they pre-recorded this. Obviously, I told you this yesterday from about 11 o'clock to 4 p.m. I have sources just everywhere, CBS News. The people that were in the audience I showed you were emailing me, and they had to do multiple takes because Bari wanted to read a prompter. These questions were pre-submitted, okay? And I would like to respond to this loaded question. What would you like to say? The podcaster Candace Owens, and I'm not even going to address this repeat talking point about people making money, except for the people that have actually made off of all of the money, millions upon millions of dollars. But this is the new thing. It's like if you keep doing what you were already doing in podcasting or keep doing what you were already doing and doing ballistics on YouTube, if you catch a bunch of views, they want to convince you that like you wake up and you turn into a millionaire. Building her business. What are you talking about? I already had this business. I was already at the top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did because it's so ridiculous. Okay. But she says,
sorry to stop right here, but she does have a point. It does seem scripted on this.
I'm lying. And Erica responds, and her answer to what do you want to say to the podcaster Candace Owens who is lying is stop. So Erica would like me to stop lying. And I would like to honor that, okay? I can only honor that if Erica is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about. What did I lie about? It's just incredible. There have this opportunity. The questions have been before. You could just start like going through them. Maybe they will. By the way, it's coming on Saturday. Maybe I've made a mistake somewhere and I'm happy. I want to correct that, right? I'm not interested. My goal is not to tell lies. It is obviously plausible that I have made mistakes. I've reviewed these lists that we've put together and I can't find the lie, okay? The lies that I find are coming out of Turning Point USA. Okay, and here are some of those lies. You know, Mikey had blood all over him. Okay, Mikey has offered that his dad was confused.
Okay, I do have to pause here, but Candace Owens is definitely correct, okay? I mean, she has always come with receipts and stuff, text messages, things that were said, videos, so on and so forth. Candace Owens has often been, you know, presenting things, and she admits she get things wrong. You know, Candace Owens wants to know exactly what did she lie about. Heck, I want to know what did Candace Owens lie about. Okay, a lot of us want to know what did Candace Owens lie about. Okay, because simply put, I mean, it's like a lot of people have put out there that, you know, TPUSA hasn't addressed this and they didn't show proof of that. I mean, it does have me to question, you know, what's actually going on behind that particular organization. Okay. And it's like, you know, Charlie Kirk wouldn't want any of this. He didn't want this, you know, division of those who are on the right. And Candace Owens has always, you know, championed that before as well. But now that he's gone, I mean, there's a huge division. Okay. And it's like a lot of people are upset because the people have questions that need to be answered. And we have influencers, media, and even people from Turning Point USA telling us to, you know, basically showing that, you know, we shouldn't question those, that's just a conspiracy theory and da-da-da-da-da. The FBI and the government gave the information out, put the information out there, and they're telling us we should accept it. Okay, simply put. And this also reminds me of when people stated that, you know, the assassin's parents and stuff, they turned them in and everything. They turned them in. There's a problem with that because it was revealed that, you know, a religious leader that's a friend of the family convinced the parents to go ahead and turn them in, and they all did that together. And also the parents of the killer, he was put, the parents of the killer, they were put on a gag order to not speak about this to anybody. Okay, so for these personalities and influencers out there saying we should talk to the parents, how come no one talked to the parents if you want to know the answers and everything? That's why.
I'll accept that. Well, I didn't lie about that. Rob McCoy lied. His father also said he called his father first. Maybe Rob McCoy was confused. Mikey being a hero for walking away doesn't feel honest. Charlie's neck stopping a 30-06 bullet because he ate healthy and had strong bones. It was a modern day Christian miracle. That feels like a pretty big lie. Okay. Charlie never wavered in his support for Israel was a nasty lie. Maybe Bari want to prep. Like, what do you want to say to the people that literally lied about what Charlie was living through in the last weeks of his life? Stop, Josh Hammer. Stop, Bibi Netanyahu. No, I'm sorry. Bari Weiss is here. We're not going to get to that. Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. Did I lie about that? Nope. Turning Point USA lied about that. And I was attacked for telling me, I'm attacked for catching the lies. We'll get to that later. That's their new method. Once first they accuse me of lying, then I prove I'm not lying. And then their strategy is to attack me for telling the truth and saying, how dare you reveal a personal text message to defend yourself.
Sounds like something the left would do, if you ask me. But let me know your thoughts about this in the Candace Owens clip. Let's get right back into it.
From being called liar. We can keep going here. Has any of this been clarified? Ben Shapiro said they never had any bad blood between them. I proved that was not true. Again, that also came from a little PR. Alex Clark pulling that move. Next page, Terrell Farnsworth was told to remove that SD card by police. That was not true. Terrell Farnsworth personally told me that was not true. Terrell removed the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Again, not what Terrell Farnsworth himself told me. and also doesn't make any logical sense, because if you were worried about theft, you would have taken the cameras and not just the SD card, particularly from the camera behind his head, as opposed to the cameras that were in front of him. Lie. Charlie established a Doge and it was not unusual. That's a lie. It wasn't exist prior to Elon Musk making that a thing about government accountability. Charlie Kirk's team did not fly drones. Major lie. Brian Harpole told that lie. Brian Harpole also told a major lie when he said that the security had communicated with UVU police to secure those rooftops. That was a lie. It was actually the walkway behind. What am I getting here? What have I done here in this presentation that I lied about? Have I made mistakes along the way? Yes, I'm not perfect, and I will always adjust those mistakes. So I'm asking you to tell me what I lied about. Why is there not this same energy also for the feds? Because they've told some lies. We've got a list of those too. We put that together. We would like some clarity. Again, Charlie being shot with a 30-06. The lover text messages mysteriously presented without any timestamps. Lying about how Tyler Robinson was arrested. They claim that he confessed and turned himself in. That's not what happened. That he said he was guilty. All of his father said he was guilty. That's not what happened. Never revealed that Tyler Robinson was at the Dare assassination. He was throwing clothes away, as I presented to you guys, in the cemetery. That's problematic to the timeline. We'd like some clarity. That's an oddity. They said Tyler Robinson was arrested wearing a maroon shirt. That actually was also not true. They said Tyler Robinson was suicidal, but also turned himself in because he was afraid of being shot by police. Those two ideas seem to be running into each other. How can both of these things be true? Did he want to die or not want to die? Maybe there's an explanation. It's definitely odd. And the footage mysteriously missing of Tyler Robinson turning himself in. And then, of course, there's just like things that we can't get answers to, which is the Egyptian planes, tracking Charlie, following Erica throughout years. Instead, they're laughing at these things. So what am I lying about?
That's what I want to know. I mean, that's what a lot of us want to know as well. But it seems to me that, every time something comes up and Candace Owens defends herself, I mean, it's like they're moving the goalposts, if you ask me. Okay, so honestly, I'm not taking any sides. I'm just stating that, I have questions that need answers. Okay. And I'm afraid I'm not going to get it from the government anytime soon. But it seems like I got a feeling that one day Candace Owens may be canceled and removed from YouTube. Okay. They're going to censor her, stop her channel, and you're not going to see Candace Owens YouTube channel on YouTube anymore. Okay, simply put, because it's like it's a growing threat of a growing thing about people who are from either supporting TPUSA or supporting the figures like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, or perhaps even the land that Ben Shapiro loves and stuff. They're actually trying to go ahead. They may try to push for Candace Owens to be removed from YouTube. Okay, all because of the fact that she prevented these different things, these pieces of evidence and stuff, receipts and everything of what what's actually trying to dig through what is actually happening. Okay, so we don't always take things from the federal government and FBI for face value all the time. We always ask more questions to dig deeper. Why stop here? So yeah, definitely has a lot of people wondering about this whole thing.
Explicitly lying about, not made a molecular or a minor mistake. We got a time zone wrong. And then it's like, she lied. The plane left a couple of hours earlier. Maybe somewhere I made a mistake on a timeline of Charlie being here on this day when he's actually there on that day. But I'm talking like, where am I lying? Because I would like to stop if you can tell me, okay? And maybe they will. Maybe we'll get to that on Saturday. And by the way, to be clear, I am also telling the truth. It is not my opinion that these questions were pre-selected. It's a fact. It's a fact. Like I said, we have insiders. The questions were pre-selected. And one of the pre-selected questions was for Erica, and this will come out on Saturday, setting the stage for her to condemn anti-Semitism. To which she responds and speaks about, as I told you yesterday, how Turning Point will be hosting a Shabbat dinner. And in case the direction of travel for CBS under the stewardship of Bari Weiss is not clear, they even brought in during this town hall the father of the young woman who was shot in DC at the Jewish Museum. I think that was an IDF soldier. I might be wrong about that. They also brought out Hunter Kozak, who asked the last question to Charlie Kirk. They filled the audience with people selected by CBS, college Republicans, with questions selected by CBS. So it just is objectively a controlled and a managed situation, controlled and a managed conversation, if you will.
This is definitely screaming a lot of PSYOP energy from the media as well as TPUSA. We all know who's running this whole situation. We don't even have to mention the name of a particular country or group. Okay, so yeah, definitely Candace Owens is correct on this. She seems to be, she seems to be having a point to all of this with all the things that Candace Owens has been talking about, like, constantly every day, and like I said earlier, I got a feeling that Candace Owens her channel may be removed from YouTube. Okay. And for Bari Weiss to come in and stuff, and a lot of people claiming that, she's apolitical. Let's keep it a buck. She is liberal. All right. She might be saying that she's trying to, remove the liberal bias or any kind of bias out of CBS News. That's face value here or there. But let's be real. Candace Owens definitely said that this does, seem scripted. And from the looks of it, yes, Candace Owens has stated that, it was pre-recorded. Okay. And this is making us all even wonder even further because, TPUSA, they're being questioned. The likes of Ben Shapiro and others who were friends with him, they're losing support and stuff. And this is what angers them. So let me know your thoughts about this from this Candace Owens clip, and I'll see you all in the next one.